we were praying, somebody said something, I have no idea what it was. But it made me think of this song, and I probably don't have the lyrics to it, but it's it says, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Y'all being good Nazarenes, I'm sure you'll know it. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. I need that, guys.
Yeah, come on.
Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom.
Come on.
Lift your eyes to heaven. So lift your eyes to heaven. There is freedom. Oh, child, lift your eyes to heaven. There is freedom. 'Cause freedom reigns in this place.
Yeah.
Showers of mercy and grace. It's falling on every face. 'Cause there is freedom. If you're tired and thirsty, if you're tired and you're thirsty, there is freedom. If you're tired and you're thirsty, there is freedom. Give your all to Jesus. So give your all to Jesus. There is freedom. Just give your all not chains. He's a chain breaker.
Come on. Yeah.
If you need freedom or saving, he's a prison shaking savior. He got chains. He's a chain breaker. He's way too good. I hate to quote Michael, but he's so good. She bought it. It's okay. Sorry, baby. iPad work.
Bless you, God. Jesus. Jesus. Bless you. Honor you.
She'll come back on. We're going to shut it off. We're going to keep singing.
Amen. Yes.
This song deals with kind of where my wife and I are at right now. Because we don't know. I've met people in the district that keep showing up in beautiful beards. and they don't lean on their own understanding. And yeah.
Amen. Come on.
And I struggle with that. I like to know. Anybody else like to know? God, I want to know. But here of late, I've been walking into Walmart. And me and Tasha have been praying. My wife back here holding this redheaded baby. And we just been, God, if someone needs prayer, please let me not be stupid enough to let them walk by and not say, hey, it's going to be all right. And I don't understand that, Michael. Pastor, I don't understand that, but it feels so good. I mean, it just feels awesome. And this song just says it for me. I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the Maker of heaven. I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the Maker of heaven. Sing it. I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the Maker of heaven. I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the Maker of heaven. I give it all to you, God, trusting that you'll make something beautiful out of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I give it all to you, God, trusting that you'll make something beautiful out of me. I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the Maker of heaven. I lean not on my own understanding. 'cause I give it all to you, God, trusting that you'll make something beautiful out of me.
Come on. Yes.
I give it all to you, God, trusting that you'll make something beautiful out of me.
Yes.
Yeah. It's good. Jesus. Bless you, God.
Yes.
Let's just bow our heads and sing this tune. Pretty simple song. If you don't know it, you have to look. But I think sometimes in the hustle and bustle ministry, sometimes God, He checks me and He says, "You're ineffective, man." He said, "I just long to hear you call my name, Logan. Just slow down. Slow down. You can't do it without me, and you're running ahead of me, Lord. Now, forgive me, Jesus." This song just reminds me to slow down and just exalt the name of Jesus. I don't know why I said that, but and I sing praises to your name. Praises to your name. The name that's so much higher than all names.
Yeah. Yeah.
All honor to your name, Jesus.
Yeah.
All honor to your name.
Bless you.
The name that's so much higher than all names.
Yeah.
So we lift it up. We lift it higher, Lord.
Come on. Yeah.
We lift it up. We lift it higher.
Bless you. Yeah. So good.
We sing praises to your name.
Yeah.
and be lifted up, and be lifted high.
Thank you. Yes.
iPad just don't stop working. I think God wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think something else pulled up. So
Thank you.
we're not even gonna do it. Go back to I don't know if you're familiar with this song.
Yes.
Do you know the story behind it?
Tell them.
Sure. I got it. John David Helser has got the greatest beard in Bethel Church. But he also, they have a prayer room that is constant. We need a prayer room. America needs a prayer room.
Amen.
And,
Yes.
well, I'm going to say this. We're live, but I don't care. But we need to be broken free in America from the spirit of religion. We just need the spirit of Jesus. That's all we need, I believe. From church planting to healing to salvation to people's lives being changed. The only thing that radicalized me was the spirit of Jesus. It wasn't religion. It was the spirit of the living one. Oh, church, we need you so bad. John David Helser walks in the prayer closet and his piano player, his drummer, one of them, they're pouring out their heart to the Lord Jesus. And he starts pinning down their prayer. This is a prayer, it's not just a song. John David Helser wrote a great tune from a guy praying. And you say, oh man. And he asked him, he said, can I put, some melody to this? He said, this is my song, this is my heart cry. So I fell in love with it. You're more real than the wind in my lungs. You're more real than the ground I'm standing on. The thoughts define me. You're inside me. You're mine. cry, Father, I belong to you. We sing Abba, I belong to you. Closer than the skin on my bone. Closer than the song on my tongue. Thoughts you find me, you're inside me, you're my melody.
Yes.
Jesus, my reality. So we sing, Father, I belong to you. Father, I belong to you.
Just begin to pray that out. Father, I belong to you. Yeah. In your own words, in your own words from your heart, just begin to tell him your yes.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
No matter what.
Yeah. That's it.
I belong to
Maybe it's been a while since you told him that you're yes.
Father, my Lord, I belong to you. No matter what the world says, I'm yours, you are mine, Lord. And I belong to you.
Yes.
Jesus, thank you, Lord. Thank you for bridging the gap between me and my Lord. Forget what the world says about me, 'cause I belong to you.
Yes.
You are my King, Lord. Closer than God, skin on my bone. You're closer than God. This song on my tongue. Thoughts that find me, you're inside me, you're my melody. Maybe walk in that, yeah. You're my reality, Lord. We sing, Father, I belong to you. We sing, Father, my daddy, Lord, I belong to you.
Yeah. Jesus, we do. We belong to you.
Yes.
I belong to my beloved. My beloved is mine. Father, I often think of Song of Songs, God, where where the bride is in the bedchamber, and the bridegroom comes and knocks at the door. And the bride says, I've already taken off my shoes. My hair is damp. Must I get up? And then by the time that she finally decides to go to the door and to let the bride in, the bride is left. And she has to go seek him out. And I can't help but think, God, that tonight, like, I'm just, my heart's so heavy, God, just because I know that sometimes we get distracted. I know that sometimes we feel inconvenienced, God. And I can't help but wonder if sometimes you're like, well, I'm going to move on and find someone that's just ready to give me their all.
Oh, wow.
So if that's you tonight, he's ready. He's knocking at the door, folks, wanting to come into the bedchambers of her heart. So Jesus, we belong to you. Me too, God. We belong to you. We're saying that we're completely yours, God. We just love you. We just love you. Thank you for the tenderness of your spirit that's here right now. You're ministering to hearts, God. You're renewing hearts, God. I know, Lord, I sense it right now in the spirit, God, that there's those in here that are hurting, they're tired, they're weary. You're ready to make things new tonight, God.
Yes.
You're ready to renew that first love fire, God.
Yes.
You're ready to fan into the flame the original kid, to fan the flame, the original one. You're ready to fan that back into flame, God.
Yes.
I pray, God, that you fan the flame in such a way, oh God, that when the wind comes, it doesn't get blown out, but that it spreads. Touch, I almost said touch my people. They're not my people, they're your people.
Yes.
Touch this company of believers tonight, God. Bless them. I pray, God, that whatever need that they have, you just go ahead and begin to minister to their hearts right now, God.
Yes.
Even before I share a word, God, you're just going ahead and mend broken hearts and heal hurt knees and necks and backs, veins. You're just going to go ahead and do that. Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. Love you, Father. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Let's give Jesus praise. Amen. Amen. Yeah. Logan, wow. Thank you, brother. Amen. I have no slides. Amen. Hey, look, I'm going to hand this to Milton. We're going to pray for the offering. If you feel led to give, do. If not, that's cool too. Jesus, we love you. We honor you. We adore you. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Okay. Amen. It was so good. That was so good. So, yeah. I'm going to share from 1 Kings 19 eventually. I want to share this. I've been on this theme really since the first year of, and you guys have heard of the bridal excess, that the Lord is searching out for a bride that doesn't just say that I'm yours and stop there, but goes much further than that. And it's based out of Genesis 22, right, where Abraham sends Eleazar, who I believe represented the person of the Holy Spirit, to search out a bride for Isaac. And the story goes that Eleazar ended up finding a bride, and the bride that he found ended up watering his camels and went above and beyond the call of duty. And he could have had anyone and thing, but the Lord is asking for a bride
Amen.
that desires Him. I got really convicted this week at General Assembly in Indianapolis. I don't know if my channel's on. They have to unmute me. I got really convicted, and I'm helping the district run a booth, but in the mornings at 6:30 a.m., Hal Perkins is leading a prayer meeting, and it's hard to get up and go to that. And it's not hard in the fact that to get up. It's hard because I'm tired. Does that make sense? Like, I'm awake, but I'm just not ready to deal with stuff yet. And the very first day we were there, I guess this would have been Tuesday was the first day, and you know how, so we were going through the 5 questions. And we were going through these questions that Jesus asked his disciples at various times to go through this prayer meeting. And at the end, Hal's like, let's just talk about something good. What's something good that has happened? And this young woman from Ecuador was there, because there's 25,000 Nazarenes from around the globe. This young woman from Ecuador was there, and she raises her hand almost like, am I allowed to raise my hand or not? You know, she was afraid. But she ends up raising, and Hal, he's like, yeah, would you share? And she said, it's an honor to be here. Which struck me because right off the bat I thought, for some it's an obligation to be there. She said it's an honor to be there. And she starts tearing up, and she goes to tell her story, and she said, basically, she got elected last church year to attend General Assembly this year. So she had a full year to prepare. And she said, after I got elected, I went and got a job so that I could save up all year to pay for me to come from Ecuador to General Assembly. She wasn't working, but she went and got a job so that she could go. I thought, like as soon as she said that, the Spirit of the Lord came. Because it wasn't an obligation for her, it was an honor for her. See, the Lord loves when we honor His presence, not when we feel obligated to go through the motions.
Right.
And so she says it was an honor, and then she starts telling her story. And she only told half the story. She came by her booth and told the rest of the story to Sergio. And she tells Sergio in Spanish. And Sergio was telling me as she's telling the story, but after she gets the job, they have to go and apply for their visa. Now, to apply for the visa in Ecuador, it costs $150 just to even apply for the visa, which, again, they don't have that money. That would have been, I don't know what it equate to us, but it would have been a large sum. So you have to have $150 to even enter the U.S. Embassy to apply for a visa. She was going with her father, okay? So that meant that they were going to have to pay $300 to apply for visas. Also, they don't let the family go in together to the embassy. They make them go in one by one. So one goes in, the other has to wait outside. They could approve one, and they could disapprove the other. And so she goes in, and they basically, when they go in, you know, she basically said she was in a cage, waiting to get in, and they get in, and they're hearing people come in saying, please, whatever you do, pray that you don't get booth number 5, or I don't know what booth it was, but, you know, that person is declining everyone's visas. That person is declining people from leaving the country. And so she said that she just goes right there when she's hearing this in the cage that she went and got a job for, that she's going to spend money that she really doesn't have. She says, God, it's an honor to go. Would you make a way? So she gets assigned, her and her father both assigned to booth number 5, to the one that you're not supposed to go to, and they get the stamp of approval.
Amen.
Amazing. Now, the story gets even more incredible. They fly from Ecuador to the United States. They land in Florida. When you're traveling into the United States from out of country, you have to go through customs, and it's a pretty rigorous process. And they have to wait, and again, you have more booths that you go to. The person running, let me back up. They're watching, and there's like 7 booths, is what she tells the story. And they're watching, and they're watching, and they're watching, and all these booths, except for one, are given the okay. And every single person on booth whatever number, 7, gets turned down. And when you get turned down in customs, you have to buy a ticket and immediately fly back to where you came from. And so her and her dad were sitting there praying, please don't let us get booth number 7. Don't let us get booth number 7. It's an honor to be here. And so what happens? They get booth 7. As they're walking up, this person running the booth says, it doesn't matter if you have all your paperwork. It doesn't matter if you have all of your things. I have the right to allow or deny access into this country based on what I think. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. Lady was on a real power trip. Now, when you enter the U.S., you are required to provide addresses to where you're going to go and visit. Her dad left a printout of the address to where convention was in Indianapolis, in Ecuador, and forgot it. And they knew that he had forgotten it. And so said, okay, we need to find some stuff. And they went back and they sat down and they prayed again. And she's like telling the story, hot tears streaming down her face, and very broken English. And she says, we sat down in the chairs and said, God, it was an honor for us to come. You didn't bring us this far to send us back home. And they said, even though we don't have all the papers, would you please have that woman let us go through? And so she walks back up to the booth, and the woman said, where's your papers? And she said, we don't have the address. We're here for a convention for God. And the lady said, welcome to America.
Amen. Great.
And so she shows up in General Assembly, Count Perkins' prayer meeting, and says, house says what's good, and she tells that story. And this is, and I can't prove this, but I believe it with all of my heart. I really believe the reason why she was allowed access into the country was because she felt that it was an honor to go and not an obligation.
That's right.
Because, I mean, what kind of person? I mean, seriously, think of this. Think of this. And actually, I was having a conversation with Sergio, our New Start director on the district, and if the tables were turned, what would be the likelihood? Like, I can tell you this, and I answered, and I was embarrassed by my answer. Sergio said, what would we have done if they would have said, we're having General Assembly in Ecuador this year? Well, yeah, having it in Ecuador this year, and we had to go there. I confess I would not have thought, first thought, I'm going to go get a job to work for a year so that I could afford to go. I would have said, withdraw my name from nomination. Get someone else that can afford to go because I'm going to stay home. That's what went through my mind. Then Sergio meets this other lady from Swaziland in Africa. Sergio was all messed up over this. She came and we were passing out stickers and pins and t-shirts at her booth. And Sergio sees she's from Swaziland, and he's like, how are you? And they start small talk. And Sergio goes, you'll have to excuse me. I'm going to ask a question, and it is going to be intrusive, but I really want to know, and I don't mean any offense. He's like, I understand that Swaziland is very poor. How can you afford to come? She goes, well, it's not expensive. I've been saving up for 4 years to come here. Because it's an honor to be here. Like, I hear those stories, and it makes me want to cry. And not to make us feel guilty, but it makes me want to cry because I've been talking about a bride of excess. And the difference between bridal excess and just being a bride is doing the bare minimum that's required. And the Lord is asking His church to do more than that's required, but not to do it out of obligation, but to do it because out of just desire.
Amen.
For Him.
That's right.
Yeah. It wasn't expensive. I've been working for 4 years. That's amazing when you think about it. That's not normal. It's really not normal. And the Lord, again, He wants brides that just say, I just want to honor your presence. And I don't want to look behind. And I'm not worried about appearing to be balanced or normal or anything else. I'm just going to give you my everything.
Amen.
Okay? Now, in this story I'm about to read, it's one of my favorite stories. In 1 Kings 19, I'm just going to start reading and then I'll start preaching. 19:19. It's the story of Elisha. There's Elijah and Elisha. And I'm going to talk about both of them for just a minute. But 1 Kings 19, it says, So Elijah, the older one, went from there and found Elisha, son of Shaphat. He was plowing 12 yoke of oxen, and he himself was driving the 12th bear. Elijah went up to him, threw his cloak around him. Elisha then left his oxen and ran after Elijah. Let me kiss my father and mother goodbye, he said, and then I'll come to you. Go back, Elijah said. What have I done to you? So Elisha left him and went back. He took his yoke of oxen, slaughtered them, burned the plowing equipment to cook the meats, and gave it to the people, and they ate. Then he set out to follow Elijah and became his servant. Okay, so we know Elijah, the prophet, the one that called down fire and really just made fun of the prophets of Baal, he's out and about, and if you know his story, he's not the most balanced man in the Bible. He's eccentric. He's a bride of excess. He's a bride that goes above and beyond. And again, I don't want to be known, even with my wife, I don't want to just do the bare minimum to keep my wife happy. I want to love her, to honor her, to cherish her, that if I were to ever go, that she would have no doubt that I love her with everything I have. But Elijah, he just wasn't balanced. He faced down a wicked king. He lived by the brook Kerith, which was interesting. Kerith means to be cut. So the Lord sent him down to a place where he was cut down and humbled by God, and was fed by ravens. He raised a dead boy back to life. He challenged the king again. He called for public confrontation. He ridiculed other religions. By the way, I mean, if he would have been there facing the prophets of Baal, if he would have been doing that in today's time and day, if he'd have been there and been like, yeah, you goofballs go ahead and dance around, cut yourselves, and call down fire and see what happens, and he's sitting there laughing and mocking, I guarantee he would have gotten in trouble today because that would have been politically incorrect for him to do, right? But he goes in and mocks them, and he's like, all right, you guys have been at it long enough, right? And then he calls down, he's like, well, actually, I'm going to call down fire, but let me go ahead and put some water around the fire, and then we're going to see what my God does, because I'm a nut, I'm eccentric. And so he's mocked by those prophets, he calls the fire down, then he slaughters the prophets, which is just, well, he does that, so he does all sorts of stuff. He outruns the king's chariot. He ran from a queen. He prayed that he gets depressed and prays that he may die. And he hiked for 40 days across the desert. He hid in a cave. He heard the Lord's voice. And then he's like, even I am the only righteous one left. Right? He does all of these outlandish things. And he did not care one bit how he was perceived. He went above and beyond.
That's right.
All throughout the Word, it's full of people that are considered eccentric. And all throughout the Word, there are people that live at lifestyles of excess. John the Baptist, if there ever was someone that did not live a balanced life, it was John the Baptist. And you think about John the Baptist. His father worked in a temple. So he had something he could have done. But John the Baptist had a Nazirite call in his life. And he says, you know what? This is what my father did, but I'm not called to do that. I've been called to go out to the wilderness and live a life where I don't cut my hair, where I don't drink any wine, and where I can never touch anything that's dead ever. That's what John the Baptist said. That's what a Nazirite vow is. And it's been very hard to keep, okay? And it's a lifestyle of fasting as well. And so, he specialized in honey and locusts to eat. And so he goes out there and says, I'm not going to do it the way that my daddy did, because God has something different for me. And I'm going to go spend time in the wilderness and pray and fast and say, Lord, send the coming one, prepare way for the Lord. And he's an eccentric, and he goes above and beyond what any normal person would do. And what happens? Jesus comes onto the scene and says, there's never been a greater prophet than him. He didn't even do any miracles. And Jesus says he's the greatest. The Lord isn't looking for balanced people.
That's right.
You've heard me say this before. If I say I just need to be balanced, we need more balance, we need more whatever, I think that's garbage. Okay? Balance, in order to balance the scale, if I have my relationship with Jesus here and I need to balance the scale, then I need to balance it with something of equal value, but that's in opposition. Equal value that's in opposition. So I have Jesus and I have sin. Let's balance my life. I'm not interested in that. I just want to go all in.
That's right.
I just want to go all in. And yeah, you're nuts, Mike. You're peculiar. You're weird. I don't care. I love him.
That's right.
Because he did all sorts of stuff. The Lord's looking for a bride of excess. He's looking for a bride of excess. Now, this living and bridal excess, there's several things about it, but it always causes us to make difficult decisions. Like if you're like, okay, I'm tired of nominal Christianity, and I really do believe that a revival is coming where nominal Christianity is like going, okay? Or complacent Christianity is going. I don't think it's good enough. Like I really have a hard time going and thinking that when I die and I go and I stand before the Lord and he says, what did you do or what did you not do? And I'd be like, well, I showed up at church every single Sunday. I threw some money in the plate. What else? I struggle with that. There's so much more than praying a prayer to get out of hell free. There's so much more than that.
That's right.
And so the Lord is asking for more. Like really, when we say I surrender all, what we really mean is I surrender the next few moments that we're singing this song. It shouldn't be lifestyle. So he says, so I believe that it causes us to make difficult decisions. So Elijah went, verse 19, went from there and found Elisha, son of Shaphat. He was plowing 12 yoke of oxen, and he himself was driving the 12th pair. And he went and threw his cloak around him. So obviously the significance is that Elisha's out there plowing the fields. The man of God comes, throws his cloak on him, his mantle on him, and says, basically, you're going to be my protege. I'm about to give you a job. Now, how many understand that Elisha didn't need a job because he was plowing the fields and he had 12 yoke of oxen? He's a wealthy man. He comes from a wealthy family. So he wasn't floating resumes, but the Lord placed a call on his life. And when the Lord placed a call on his life, he had a decision to make. Is he going to say, I don't need this cloak, and stay home and plow the fields? Or would he walk away from all of it into the unknown? And I believe that's where many of us are today. I know you guys. That's where some of us are today. That some of us make decision after decision like this. Because the Lord, it's like He always takes us deeper, 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 deeper. We can stay where we are. We can stay where we are. Or we can take the plunge.
Amen.
We can stay where we are and say, I'm living a good life. I'm serving God. I know that when I die, I'm going to spend eternity with Him. Or we can give Him absolutely our entire life.
That's right.
And watch Him do something amazing through it. Even if it's difficult. Rhonda Huey, Rhonda's a dear friend. Rhonda Huey says this in her book, Desperate for His Presence. She said, Jesus died to deliver us from captivity and to give us abundant life. He didn't pay such a high price for our redemption so we could live mediocre lives, ensnared in the world system and clueless about our identity and purpose. God's motivation in exposing our compromise is so that we can be delivered from it and live life filled with highest purpose. He didn't die. He died to deliver us from captivity so that He could give us an abundant life. And He did not pay such a high price for our redemption so that we could live mediocre lives. He died so that we can say, I realize that I can say, I believe in You. Would You forgive my sins? And I'm going to confess and tell people that I believe that You are Lord. He died so that we could say, I'm laying my life down for my fellow brothers so that they can build a bridge for them to come into the kingdom of God. He said he died. He died so that I may die completely, and that it's no longer I that live, but Christ Jesus that lives within me, folks. He's not interested in us going halfway. He's interested in us going all the way, and then we go even further than we did to begin with. And the further you go, I promise, the more rewarding it'll be. Now, I'm not talking about name it and claim it and prosperity stuff, but I do believe that when I give my life to Him fully, He does bless me because He's good. And His kingdom is a kingdom of abundance. But it's not about the abundance. It's about giving my life to one that loves me, that has eyes like fire, right? That has hair like wool. And that says, other than Song of Songs, it says, I quote this one all the time, but when I look at Him, all of heaven stops and He's captivated by my plans. That's why it's worth it to go all the way.
That's right. Amen. Yes.
And bridal excess does sometimes lead to painful separation. 20 said, then he left his oxen and ran after Elisha. He said, let me kiss my father and mother goodbye, and then I'll come with you. Go back. Elijah replied, what have I done to you? So the prophet tells him, Elisha says, all right, let me go tell mom and dad goodbye. And Elijah says, what have I done to you? What he's saying is this: I want you to understand the opportunity that you have right now. I'm saying you can go back home and tell your mom and dad goodbye, but don't miss out on what this is right here. When he says, what have I done to you? He's saying, consider what's at stake. Because how many understand that when you go back to something you've left behind, that it's harder to leave than it was the first time? It's like people that fall into sin. It's people that struggle with pornography, people that struggle with drug addictions. Sometimes the deeper you get into it, the harder it is to get free. There are things that we may have to leave behind. There are things that we may have to leave behind. And it's hard and it's painful. But what we leave behind pales in comparison to what lies tomorrow. It really does. And I'm talking to people that sacrifice to move across the country. It's hard. As we continue to press in and seek the Lord, it'll be worth it. Now, it's also a humble response he had. He said, let me kiss my mother and father goodbye, and then I'll come. So he accepts the call, and he asks for permission to tell his folks goodbye. And he's saying, I know that I'm blessed, but there's something on me. And I'm just telling you goodbye because I love you too much to just say forget you. So what's going on here? It's also a human response. He doesn't want to just take off and leave his folks wondering where he went. So he goes back, asks for permission. He's old enough to respond on his own, but he's faithful, and he don't want to leave him in the dark. I think that's really important. Now, some will say, well, what about Luke 9, where Jesus said, Jesus is saying, come and follow me, and then the person replied, but first let me go bury my father. It was a much different type of scenario, okay? Because in that situation, the guy wasn't really sick. It's just this whole different type of language and scenario. But in reality, that meant that Jesus was talking to never really wanted to follow Jesus. He was looking for an excuse to get out of following Jesus. I believe that when Elisha said, let me go back and kiss my mother and father, he's saying, let me show them honor. And Elijah the prophet respected that because it was an honorable thing, he allowed him to go. Honor's the way of the people.
Amen. Yes.
All right. I'm really off track. I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry.
Come on.
Can I say this? When you decide to follow Jesus, and you guys have, every person here has decided to follow Jesus. When you decide to follow Jesus, when you decide to follow Jesus, it always leads to a cross where dreams end up getting crucified. When you decide to follow Jesus, it always leads to a cross where your hopes, not your necessarily hopes, but where your desires and your wants are crucified. And then, when those are crucified, you don't have to raise them from the dead. If the Lord wants to raise them from the dead, he can raise them from the dead. Okay? Sometimes, I told this story before at various settings, but when we first got called into ministry, or first called and felt like it was time to go and be a pastor and no longer serve under my aunt and uncle, as children's pastors, we sent out a few resumes and got a phone call from a district, and it was basically going to be a small church. It was a DS appointment. It was like, you come and meet the people and you'll be given the church type of thing. And we went off to a prayer retreat, and the Lord spoke to us and said, don't go. And so we called the DS and said, we can't come and even talk to the people, check it out. God said we're not to go there. And really fast forwarding through that process, we did that thinking that if God told us no here, he must have something better for us. Okay? So this was in the 1st of November, and then we went November, December, and into January, and we didn't even have a single phone call or email from anyone. It was completely dark. And I'm thinking, God, did I miss it? Am I really called to pastoral ministry? I was asking myself these questions. Am I called to be a preacher? So our church, we started a fast. It was the first time we'd ever fasted, the 21-day Daniel fast. And during this fast, it's like, God, I just want your will. God, I want your will. God, I want your will. Would you open up a door? Would you open up a door? Would you open up a door? And we get to day 12, and I'm like, God, you're not opening up any doors. Maybe I misheard you. So if I'm never called to be a pastor, I will serve the rest of my life as a children's pastor or wherever my pastor says I need to serve, and I'll be okay with it. Day 13, the very next day, I get a phone call from Greg Mason. The very next day after I gave it up. Greg Mason says, I've got a church for you, and it was a tough situation on paper, but we're like, yeah, we would love to pray about it and come and visit. And we did. And 8 days later, day 21, right towards the end of the fast, we actually flew out to visit the place. And within a few days later, we'd accepted the call to go and pastor there. I I don't believe the Lord would have opened up the door for me to be a pastor if I hadn't have told him, not just give him lip service, but came to the point where I said, I'm okay not being one. Because when you decide to follow Jesus, it's a place where you come to a cross and dreams are often crucified. But he raised it back up. So it can be hard. It really can. And I'm sure that Elisha was having a hard time because he was going to miss his family. And his family would miss him. And he knew that nothing would ever be the same again. And he knew that he would never stand behind the plow, stand behind the ox and plow the field. He knew that it was all going to be different. And so in verse 21 he does this. It says he left him and went back to his parents. And then he took the yoke of oxen and slaughtered them. That's excessive. He burned the plowing equipment. She really is okay, guys, too. I promise. He burned the plowing equipment, took the meat, and gave it to the people, and they ate. And then he set out to follow Elijah and became a servant. Sit on the fence forever.
Try, yeah.
Actually, the devil wants the fence to be right away. What I love about this, and this is really excessive, because you know what most of us would have done? We'd been like, all right, Mom, Dad, I'm out. Do you think you could take care of the oxen while I try this out for a little bit and see if it fits? If this is going to work out, if this weirdo prophet guy that has a habit of showing up and then leaving really quick, do you think that maybe if we, I don't know, give me like 30 days and let's see if this works out. If it doesn't, I want to come back home, right? Let's see how this works. We do stuff like this all the time. But he didn't do that. He had a few seconds to make a life-changing decision. And once he signed on to be Elijah's apprentice, he felt like he had to burn the bridges that he had so that when things got tough, he wouldn't run right back to it.
Right.
He wouldn't go back to his old life. And so he slaughtered the oxen. It's just mind-boggling to me. Now think about this. Think about this. It didn't just affect him by slaughtering the oxen, by the way, because they weren't just his, they were his family's. And he's saying, Dad, I know that these were your livestock, but if I don't slaughter this, I'm going to be tempted to go back to it. And I realize this is going to cost you as well, because you guys all understand this, especially in ministry, that sometimes God calls you places away from your family, and it's just not hard on you. It's hard on the ones that love you as well. And he says, I don't want to be tempted to go back. So he slaughters them, and then they had insult to injury. He's like, let's have a barbecue. And they eat them. And then he's like, you know what? That's not quite good enough. My belly's full right now, but there's still that plow sitting right there. Let's burn the plow. That way, I definitely won't return to this life. I'm taking everything that I have, everything that I know how to do, everything that's important in my life, everything that I'm an expert at, everything that's comfortable, because it would have been comfortable to have done the same thing day after day after day after day after day and never step out in faith. But the Lord, He said, why don't you burn the plow so that you don't go back to it? I can tell you time and time and time again that we get fired up. God's told me to do this, and I take off to run, and I'm like, oh wait, what am I doing here? Let me come to my senses, right? That's why when we get out into the boat, oftentimes we're like, man, I'm looking back over my shoulder, and I see all my friends and family basically having like a volleyball beach party on the beach, and you're like, man, that sure would be much better than being out here on the waters by myself. But you're not by yourself.
That's right.
He's with you. So he burns the plows and says, I'm not looking back. calls you into something, it's an honor when the Lord speaks to you. And when the Lord calls you, most of the time, you know, Ecclesiastes says, don't despise the day of small beginnings. In other words, it's most of God's promises come in seed form. They have to be cultivated, nurtured, cared for, stewarded. Then they grow. If I had an acorn in my hand, I realize it's much more than an acorn, right? Because if I walk out to the woods, what it really is, it's a future oak tree. It's really easy to get distracted and stuck and see what's right here. I wish I could go back. But I just really believe the Lord is looking for a people that says, I'm not going to turn back. And I'm not going to retreat. And I'm not going to count the cost. The Lord's looking for a bride that says, I'm severing all my ties. I'm not telling you to sever ties with your family. I'm severing ties with the things that I have held dear that's hindering me from stepping forward to the call that's on my life. Every one of us called. If you follow Jesus, you're called. Just say that. Slaughters the oxen, he burns the plows. What could a plow be? A plow could be family. Trust me, it's lived away from family for 14 years. Yeah. Plow could be something you eat. Plow could be a job that you need to leave. Plow could be a habit that you have that you need to stop. A plow could be whatever it is. I could go on and on and on. I'm sure you have something that's popping in your head because I believe the Holy Spirit's speaking to you. But it could be anything stopping you from stepping into the life that the Lord has. He has so much for you. Sometimes it makes sense when I use it in sentences, and most of the time it doesn't. But you understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying. Just last week we talked about the box being broken because she saw that Jesus' presence was being dishonored by Simon, and she said, I don't care what I have to do and how bad I look. I'm just going to wash the dirt off of his feet. That was excessive. She didn't have to do that. She chose to do that. It's this grace